My name is Lorraine Hayes. I'm 58 years old, and what I'm about to tell you will shake you to your core. The day we buried my husband Ernest was supposed to be the end of everything. But as I stood beside his grave, my phone buzzed. The message made my blood run cold. I'm still here. Trust no one. I thought it was a sick joke. Until the next message came. It's me. Don't trust our sons. I looked up at Derek and Vincent, my own boys, standing by the casket. Their tears looked rehearsed. Their embraces felt hollow. And for the first time in 34 years of marriage, I realized I didn't know my family at all. But let me start from the beginning. If you're watching this story, please do me a favor, like this video and subscribe to Aunty Mea's voice. Leave a comment telling me where you're watching from, because what I'm about to tell you is a story of betrayal so deep, so calculated, that you won't believe one woman could steal another's entire existence. But she did. And this is how I took it all back. The funeral home smelled like lilies and regret. I hated lilies. Ernest knew that. He knew I preferred wildflowers, the kind we used to pick along the dirt roads in Spring Creek when we were young and broke and happy. But Derek had insisted on lilies. They're traditional, Mom, he'd said, his hand on my shoulder like a weight I couldn't shake off. Dad would have wanted things done right. Would he? I didn't argue. I was too numb to argue. The casket sat at the front of the room, polished oak with brass handles. It looked expensive. Too expensive. Ernest would have laughed at it. He was a man who fixed bicycles for a living, who wore the same flannel shirts for 20 years because they still work fine. This casket wasn't him. Nothing about this day felt like him. I sat in the front row, hands folded in my lap, staring at the closed lid. Inside was supposed to be my husband. My Ernest. The man I'd loved since I was 24 years old, when we were both nothing but dreamers with empty pockets and full hearts. We met on a Tuesday. I remember because it was trash day, and I was dragging bins to the curb for Mrs. Calloway, one of the houses I cleaned back then. Ernest rode past on his bicycle, the chain clicking because it needed oil. He stopped, got off, and fixed it right there on the sidewalk while I watched. Can't ride a bike that sounds like it's crying, he'd said, grinning up at me with grease on his hands. I'd smiled back. Can't pay you. I'm broke. Good. So am I. And that was it. That was us. For 34 years, we built a life out of scraps and stubbornness. We had 2 sons. We had a little house with a porch that creaked. We had each other. And now he was gone. Or so I thought. The priest was talking. I couldn't hear him. The words blurred together, something about eternal rest and God's mercy. I nodded when people expected me to nod. I cried when they expected me to cry. But inside, I felt nothing. No, that's not true. I felt wrong. Something about this whole day felt wrong, like a song played in the wrong key. I couldn't name it, couldn't point to it, but it sat in my chest like a stone. Derek stood beside me, tall and rigid in his dark suit. He looked every bit the grieving son. His jaw was tight. His eyes were red-rimmed. He even dabbed at them with a handkerchief during the eulogy. But when I glanced at him, really looked at him, I saw something else. Relief. It flickered across his face for just a second, so quick I almost missed it. But I didn't miss it. And that's when the first crack appeared. Vincent sat on my other side, quieter, smaller somehow. He didn't cry. He didn't speak. He just stared at the casket like he was waiting for it to open. I reached for his hand. He flinched. Vincent? I'm fine, Mom. His voice was flat. Hollow. He wasn't fine. Neither of them were. But I was too buried in my own grief to ask why. The service ended. People filed past the casket, murmuring condolences I didn't hear. Someone hugged me. Someone else squeezed my hand. I smiled. I thanked them. I played the part. And then my phone vibrated in my coat pocket. I almost ignored it. Who texts someone at a funeral? But something made me look. The screen lit up with a message from an unknown number. I'm still here. Trust no one. My heart stopped. I stared at the words, reading them again and again, trying to make sense of them. A prank. It had to be a prank. Some cruel, twisted joke from someone who thought they were funny. but my hands were shaking. I typed back with trembling fingers. Who is this? The reply came immediately. It's me. Don't trust our sons. The phone slipped from my hand and clattered to the floor. Derek turned. Mom? You okay? I bent down, grabbed the phone, shoved it back into my pocket. I'm fine. Just tired. He studied me for a moment, eyes narrowing. Then he nodded. Let's get you home. But I wasn't listening. I was thinking about the message. Don't trust our sons. I looked at Derek. Then at Vincent. Their faces were blank. Calm. Too calm. And for the first time in my life, I was afraid of my own children. The drive home was silent. Derek drove. Vincent sat in the passenger seat. I was in the back, staring out the window, watching the town I'd lived in my whole life blur past like a dream I couldn't wake up from. My phone felt like it was burning a hole in my pocket. It's me. What did that mean? Who would say that? Who could say that? Ernest was dead. I'd seen the body. Well, no. I hadn't. The casket had been closed. Charles said it was better that way. He wouldn't want you to remember him like that, Mom. I'd believed him. Why had I believed him? We pulled into the driveway. The house looked smaller than I remembered. Darker. Like something had been hollowed out of it. Derek cut the engine. You should rest, Mom. We'll take care of everything. Everything. My voice sounded strange. Distant. The estate. The paperwork. You don't need to worry about any of it. I'm not worried. He smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Good. Vincent got out without a word and disappeared into the house. Derek lingered, watching me like I was a problem he needed to solve. Mom, he said carefully, if you need anything. I'm fine, Derek. Are you? I met his gaze. Held it. Yes. He didn't believe me. I didn't care. I went inside. The house was too quiet. For 34 years, Ernest had filled every corner of it with noise. Humming while he made coffee. Muttering at the crossword puzzle. Laughing at bad jokes on TV. Now there was nothing. Just silence. I sat on the couch, pulled out my phone, and read the messages again. I'm still here. Trust no one. It's me. Don't trust our sons. I typed another message. If this is really you, prove it. I waited. 1 minute. 2. 5. Then. Spring Creek. The bicycle. You said you were broke. I said, good. So am I. The phone slipped from my hands again. No one knew that story. No one. Ernest and I had never told anyone. It was ours. Just ours. My breath came in short, shallow gasps. My vision blurred. I pressed my palm to my chest, trying to steady myself, trying to think. If Ernest was alive, why would he fake his death? And why would he warn me about our sons? I heard footsteps. Derek appeared in the doorway, still in his suit, hands in his pockets. You okay, Mom? You look pale. I'm fine. You keep saying that. Because it's true. He stepped closer. You'd tell me if something was wrong, wouldn't you? I forced a smile. Of course. He didn't look convinced. But he nodded and left. I waited until I heard his car pull out of the driveway. Then I called the number. It rang once. Twice. 3 times. A voice answered. Rough. Tired. Familiar. Lorraine. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't speak. Lorraine, listen to me. I don't have much time. They think I'm dead. They need me to be dead. Don't react. Don't tell anyone. Just listen. Ernest? My voice cracked. I'm alive. But if they find out, I won't be for long. Who? Who are you talking about? There was a pause. A long, painful pause. Our sons, Lorraine. Derek and Vincent. They tried to kill me. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? My husband was alive. My sons had tried to kill him. And I was supposed to just, what? Pretend everything was normal? I sat in the dark, staring at my phone, replaying Ernest's words in my head. They tried to kill me. It didn't make sense. None of it made sense. Derek and Vincent weren't perfect, but they weren't killers. They were my boys. I'd raised them. I'd kissed their scraped knees and dried their tears and taught them right from wrong. Hadn't I? I thought back over the last few months, searching for signs I'd missed. Ernest had gotten sick in March. At least, that's what we thought. He'd been tired, weak, complaining of chest pains. Charles insisted we take him to the hospital. The doctors ran tests. They said his heart was failing. He'd come home with a bag full of pills and instructions to rest. But he hadn't gotten better. He'd gotten worse. And Derek had been there every step of the way. Checking in. Bringing groceries. Making sure Dad takes his medicine. Oh God. The medicine. I stood up, paced the room, my mind racing. What if it wasn't medicine? What if Derek had been poisoning him? No, that was insane. That was... My phone buzzed. Another message from Ernest. Check my office. The bottom drawer of my desk. You'll find what you need. I didn't hesitate. Ernest's office was at the back of the house, a small room cluttered with tools and old bike parts and papers he never threw away. It smelled like oil and dust in him. I stood in the doorway, heart pounding, and flicked on the light. The desk sat in the corner, buried under layers of invoices and receipts. I moved them aside, opened the bottom drawer. Inside was a folder. A thick, worn folder stuffed with documents. I pulled it out, sat on the floor, and started reading. Bank statements. Transfers. Withdrawals. Hundreds of thousands of dollars moved from Ernest's business account to an offshore account I didn't recognize. And every transaction was signed by Derek. My hand shook. There were emails too. Printed out, highlighted. Messages between Derek and someone named Victor Lansing, discussing liquidating assets and removing obstacles. One email made my blood run cold. The old man's getting suspicious. We need to move faster. If he talks, we're done. Derek had written that. My son had written that about his father. I kept reading. There were more documents. Forged signatures. Fake contracts. Evidence of embezzlement going back years. And at the bottom of the pile, a handwritten note from Ernest. Lorraine, if you're reading this, I'm either dead or close to it. Derek has been stealing from me. I confronted him last week. He didn't deny it. He just smiled. I think he's planning something. Please be careful. Trust no one. Not even Vincent. The note was dated 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks before Ernest died. I sat there on the floor, surrounded by proof of my son's betrayal, and I felt something inside me break. Not my heart. My illusions. I'd spent my whole life believing in family. In loyalty. In the idea that love was enough to keep people good. But love wasn't enough. Not for Derek. Maybe not for Vincent either. I thought about Vincent, sitting at the funeral, silent and distant. He'd always been quieter than Derek, softer. I'd thought he was just grieving. But what if he was guilty? What if he'd known all along? My phone buzzed again. Did you find it? I typed back. Yes. Ernest, where are you? I can't tell you yet. It's not safe. But we need to meet. Tomorrow night. There's a diner on Route 9, just outside of town. Mallory's. Be there at 8. Come alone. If they see you, we're both dead. I stared at the message, my mind racing. This was real. Ernest was alive. And my sons were trying to kill him. What would you do if you found out your own children were capable of murder? The next morning, Derek called. Mom, the lawyer wants to see us. Dad's will. Can you be there at 10? I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him I knew. That I'd seen the documents. That I knew what he'd done. But I didn't. I'll be there, I said. The lawyer's office smelled like old leather and expensive cologne. Derek was already there when I arrived, sitting in one of the high-backed chairs, looking every bit the responsible son. Vincent walked in a few minutes later, hands shoved in his pockets, eyes on the floor. The lawyer, a man named Gregory Finch, shuffled papers on his desk and cleared his throat. Thank you all for coming. I know this is a difficult time. Let's keep this brief. He opened a folder and began reading. Ernest's will. But it wasn't the will I remembered. The one I remembered left everything to me. The house. The business. The savings. This one was different. To my sons, Derek and Vincent, I leave the entirety of my estate, including the family home, the bicycle repair business, and all financial assets. To my wife, Lorraine, I leave my gratitude for a life well lived together. I stopped breathing. What? Finch looked up. I'm sorry, Mrs. Hayes. I know this must come as a shock. Shock. My voice was shaking. This isn't his will. Ernest wouldn't. The will was updated 3 weeks ago, Finch said gently. Your husband came in personally. He signed it in front of witnesses. No, that's not. Derek leaned forward. Mom, Dad wanted us to take care of you. This way, you don't have to worry about anything. We'll handle everything. I turned to him, and for the first time, I saw him clearly. The smile that didn't reach his eyes. The calm, controlled tone. The way he watched me, like a predator watches prey. You did this, I whispered. Mom, you forged his signature. You changed the will. That's a serious accusation. His voice was ice. You tried to kill him. Silence. Vincent's head snapped up. His face went pale. Derek stood slowly. Mom, you're upset. You're not thinking clearly. Let's go home. We can talk about this later. I'm not going anywhere with you. Mom, get away from me. I grabbed my purse and walked out. Behind me, I heard Derek say something to Finch. Something low and urgent. But I didn't stop. I got in my car, hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel, and drove. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stay there. I ended up at the house. My house. Except it wasn't mine anymore, was it? Derek had stolen it. Just like he'd stolen everything else. I sat in the driveway, staring at the front door, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Rage. Not the hot, explosive kind. The cold, steady kind that burns slow and doesn't go out. I got out of the car and went inside. Derek was already there. Of course he was. He stood in the living room, hands in his pockets, watching me like I was a problem he needed to solve. Mom, we need to talk. No. You need to listen. He raised an eyebrow. Okay. I know what you did. What did I do? You stole from your father. You forged documents. You changed his will. And you tried to kill him. He didn't flinch. Didn't blink. He just smiled. That's a hell of an accusation, Mom. It's the truth. Is it? He stepped closer. Or are you just upset because Dad left everything to us? He didn't leave anything to you. You stole it. Prove it. I opened my mouth. Closed it. He leaned in, his voice dropping to a whisper. You can't, can you? Because there's no proof. Dad signed the will. The lawyer has the documents. Everything is legal. Everything is clean. You're lying. Am I? He straightened, adjusting his cuffs. Here's what's going to happen, Mom. You're going to accept the will. You're going to let Henry and me take care of things. And you're going to stop making wild accusations that could hurt this family. Family? I laughed. It sounded broken. You don't know the meaning of the word. His smile vanished. Be careful, Mom. You're not as stable as you think. Grief does strange things to people. Makes them see things that aren't there. Say things they don't mean. Is that a threat? It's advice. He turned and walked toward the door. Derek. He stopped. I will prove it. And when I do, you're going to prison. He looked back at me, and for the first time, I saw something flicker in his eyes. Fear. Good luck with that, he said. And then he was gone. I stood there, alone in my house that wasn't my house anymore, and I pulled out my phone. There was a new message. Tonight. 8 p.m. Mallory's. Don't be late. I looked at the time. It was already 6. I had 2 hours. 2 hours to decide if I was brave enough to face the truth. If I was strong enough to fight back. I thought about Ernest. About the life we'd built together. About the boys we'd raised. And I thought about the message he'd sent me. Don't trust our sons. I grabbed my coat. I was done trusting. It was time to fight. What would you do if your own children betrayed you? Would you fight back, or would you let them win? Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts. And if you want to see what happens next, you know what to do. The diner was called Mallory's. It sat on the edge of Route 9, wedged between a gas station and an abandoned motel. The kind of place you'd drive past without noticing. Perfect for secrets. I arrived 10 minutes early. Parked in the back. Watched the entrance through my rearview mirror, my heart hammering against my ribs. What if this was a trap? What if Derek had found out somehow? What if Ernest wasn't really alive and I was losing my mind? But then I saw him. A figure in a dark jacket, hood pulled low, moving quickly across the parking lot. He didn't look around. Didn't hesitate. Just slipped inside. I waited another minute. Then followed. The diner smelled like burnt coffee and old grease. There were only 3 other people inside. A waitress behind the counter. An old man reading a newspaper. A trucker hunched over a plate of eggs. None of them looked up when I walked in. Ernest sat in the last booth, back to the wall, face hidden in shadow. I slid into the seat across from him. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then he lifted his head, and I almost screamed. His face was bruised, swollen. A cut above his left eye, stitched but angry. His lip was split. His hands, resting on the table, were scraped raw. This wasn't the man I'd said goodbye to 3 weeks ago. This was someone who'd fought for his life. "Ernest," I whispered. "I know." His voice was rough, like he'd been screaming. "I know how I look." "What did they do to you?" He closed his eyes. Took a breath. "What they had to make it look real. Start from the beginning. Please." He nodded. Opened his eyes. And told me everything. It started 6 months ago. Ernest had been going through the books for the repair shop. Nothing unusual. Just routine checks. But something didn't add up. Money was missing. Not a lot at first. A few hundred here. 1,000 there. Easy to miss if you weren't paying attention. But Ernest was always paying attention. He dug deeper. Found transfers he didn't recognize. Payments to accounts he'd never opened. Invoices for parts that were never delivered. Someone was stealing from him. And that someone was Derek. Ernest confronted him. Quietly. Privately. Gave him a chance to explain. Derek didn't deny it. He smiled. "You should have stayed out of it, Dad," he'd said. "This is bigger than you think." Ernest asked what he meant. Derek didn't answer. But 2 days later, Ernest started getting sick. Dizzy spells. Chest pains. Nausea that came out of nowhere. The doctors said it was stress. Age. A weak heart. But Ernest knew better. He stopped taking the pills Derek brought him. Started pretending to swallow them, then spitting them out when Derek left. The symptoms stopped. That's when Ernest knew for sure. His own son was poisoning him. He started gathering evidence. Secretly. Copied files. Printed emails. Hid everything in his office. And then, 3 weeks ago, Derek showed up at the shop. With Vincent. They didn't come to talk. Ernest saw it in their eyes. They'd come to finish it. Derek grabbed him. Vincent held the door. They dragged him to the back room, shoved him against the wall. "You should have minded your own business, old man," Derek said. Ernest fought back. He was smaller than both of them, older, weaker. But he fought. He kicked Derek in the knee. Broke free. Ran. Vincent caught him at the door. Slammed him into the frame. Ernest felt his ribs crack. But he kept running. He made it to his truck. Started the engine. Tires screaming, he got out of there. Derek and Vincent didn't follow. They didn't need to. Because the next day, the police came to the house. They told me Ernest had died of a heart attack. They showed me a death certificate. Signed by a doctor I'd never heard of. And I believed them. I believed my sons. Ernest's voice cracked. "I'm sorry, Lorraine. I should have told you sooner. But I had to disappear. Had to make them think they'd won. It was the only way to stay alive long enough to gather proof." I reached across the table. Took his hand. It was real. He was real. "Where have you been?" "Friend's cabin. 2 hours north. Off the grid. I've been watching. Waiting. Making sure they don't know I'm alive." "And the body in the casket?" Ernest looked away. There was no body. Just a closed casket. Derek paid someone to fake the paperwork. The death certificate. The whole thing. So they think you're dead. They need me to be dead. Why? Because if I'm alive, I can testify. I can prove what they did. And they'll go to prison. I leaned back. Tried to process it all. My sons. My boys. Killers. "What do we do now?" I asked. Ernest pulled a small USB drive from his pocket. Slid it across the table. "Everything's on here. Bank records. emails, audio recordings. Enough to put Derek away for years. And Vincent. Ernest hesitated. Vincent's scared. He's not like Derek. He never wanted this. But Derek has him trapped. So we save him. We try. I picked up the USB drive. Held it tight. What's the plan? Ernest leaned forward. You go to the police. Give them the evidence. Tell them everything. They'll arrest Derek. And once Derek's in custody, Vincent will talk. He'll turn on Derek to save himself. And you. I stay hidden. For now. If Derek finds out I'm alive before the arrest, he'll run. Or worse. He could come after me. He won't. Not if you play it right. Act normal. Grieve. Let him think you're weak. Broken. I'm not weak. Ernest smiled. For the first time all night, it was real. I know. We sat there for another minute. Just looking at each other. 34 years of marriage between us. 34 years of trust. And now, betrayal. But we were still here. Still fighting. I should go, Ernest said. The longer we're together, the more dangerous it gets. When will I see you again? Soon. Once this is over. Once they're locked up. He stood. Pulled his hood back up. I grabbed his wrist. Ernest. Be careful. You too. And then he was gone. I sat there alone, staring at the USB drive in my hand. This tiny thing held the power to destroy my family. Or save what was left of it. I didn't know which anymore. The next morning, I woke up to knocking. Loud. Insistent. I stumbled to the door, still half asleep, and opened it. Derek stood there. Smiling. Morning, Mom. Thought I'd check on you. My heart stopped. I forced a smile back. I'm fine, sweetheart. Just tired. You look pale. I didn't sleep well. Grieving will do that. He stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. Looked around. You been going through Dad's things? A little. Find anything interesting? There was something in his voice. Something sharp. I kept my face neutral. Just memories. He walked to the couch. Sat down. Made himself comfortable. I wanted to talk to you about the house, he said. Vincent and I have been discussing it. We think it's too big for you. Too much upkeep. We were thinking maybe you'd be more comfortable in a smaller place. An apartment, maybe. Something easier to manage. You want to sell my house. It's not your house anymore, Mom. Remember? Dad left it to us. His words hit like a slap. I sat down across from him. Folded my hands in my lap. And where would I go? We'll help you find a place. Something nice. Close by. Close by so you can keep an eye on me? He laughed. You make it sound sinister. Isn't it? The smile faded. Mom, I'm trying to help you. Are you? He leaned forward. Eyes locked on mine. What's that supposed to mean? I didn't answer. He studied me. Like he was trying to see inside my head. Read my thoughts. You've been acting strange, he said slowly. Ever since the funeral. My husband died, Derek. I'm allowed to be strange. That's not what I mean. He stood. Paced. You've been distant. Secretive. You left the will reading like you were running from something. I was upset. Were you? Silence. He stopped pacing. Turned to face me. Where were you last night? My stomach dropped. What? Last night. Around 8. I came by. You weren't here. Think, Lorraine. Think. I went for a drive, I said. I needed air. Where'd you go? Nowhere. Just around. Around where? I don't know, Derek. I wasn't paying attention. I was grieving. He didn't look convinced. Mom, if something's going on. Nothing's going on. You tell me, right? I met his eyes. Held his gaze. Of course. He watched me for another long moment. Then nodded. Okay, good. He walked to the door. Stopped. Looked back. By the way, I'm having the locks changed. For security. I'll get you a new key. Security from what? He smiled. You never know. And then he left. I sat there, frozen, as the sound of his car faded down the street. He was suspicious. And that meant I was running out of time. I had to move fast. I grabbed my phone. Called the number Ernest had given me. A detective. Someone he trusted. The phone rang twice. Then a voice answered. Detective Morris. My name is Lorraine Hayes. I need to report a crime. There was a pause. What kind of crime? Attempted murder. Fraud. Embezzlement. And who's the suspect? I took a breath. My son. I met Detective Morris 2 hours later at the police station. He was older than I expected. Mid-50s maybe. Gray hair, tired eyes. But sharp. I could tell he didn't miss much. I handed him the USB drive. Everything you need is on here, I said. Bank records. Emails. Proof that my son Derek has been embezzling money from my husband's business for years. Proof that he tried to kill him. Morris plugged the drive into his computer. Started scrolling through files. His expression didn't change. But I saw his jaw tighten. Your husband's name is Ernest Hayes? Yes. And he's deceased? I hesitated. That's what everyone thinks. Morris looked up. Excuse me. He's alive. He faked his death to protect himself. Derek and Vincent tried to kill him. He barely escaped. Morris sat back. Folded his arms. Mrs. Hayes, that's a serious accusation. I know. Do you have proof? You're looking at it. He glanced back at the screen. Scrolled some more. These documents, if they're real, this is enough to arrest him. They're real. And your husband. Ernest. Where is he now? Hiding. I'll need to speak with him. Not yet. Not until Derek's in custody. If Derek finds out Ernest's alive, he'll run. Or he'll finish what he started. Morris studied me. You understand what you're asking me to do? I'm asking you to arrest my son before he kills my husband. He nodded slowly. Closed the laptop. Give me 24 hours. I need to verify these documents. Get a warrant. And then we'll move. 24 hours? That's the best I can do. I stood. Thank you, detective. He walked me to the door. Mrs. Hayes. I turned. Be careful. If your son suspects anything, he already does. Morris's face darkened. Then stay away from him. Don't answer his calls. Don't let him in your house. And if he shows up, you call me immediately. I nodded. But I didn't think 24 hours would be enough. I got home just before sunset. The house was dark. Empty. I locked the door behind me. Drew the curtains. Sat on the couch with the lights off. Waiting. My phone buzzed. A text from Vincent. Mom, can we talk? I stared at the message. Vincent. The quiet one. The one who'd always been overshadowed by his older brother. Was he reaching out for help? Or was this another trap? I typed back. When? Now. I'm outside. My blood ran cold. I stood. Moved to the window. Peered through the curtain. Vincent's car was parked across the street. He was alone. I unlocked the door. He stepped inside, hands shoved deep in his pockets, eyes red like he'd been crying. Mom, his voice cracked. I'm so sorry. And then he broke down. I caught him. Held him. Let him cry. I didn't want this, he sobbed. I never wanted any of this. I know, sweetheart. Derek said it would be easy. Just move some money around. Dad would never notice. But then Dad found out and Derek. Derek said we had to stop him. Vincent, listen to me. I didn't know he was going to hurt him. I swear. I thought we were just going to scare him. But then Derek brought those pills and Dad got sick, and I realized what was happening. He pulled back. Looked at me with desperate eyes. I tried to stop it, Mom. I swear I tried. But Derek said if I talked, he'd make it look like it was all my idea. That I was the one who wanted Dad dead. Vincent. And then Dad was gone and I thought it was over. But it's not over. Derek's planning something. Something worse. My heart stopped. What do you mean? Vincent's hands were shaking. He knows you were at the diner last night. The room spun. How? He's been following you. He has someone watching you. Mom, he thinks Dad's alive. And if he finds him, where is Derek now? I don't know. He told me to come here. To see if you'd say anything. To see if you'd slip up. I grabbed Vincent's shoulders. Are you working with him? Is this a setup? No. Mom, I'm trying to help you. You have to leave. Tonight. Now. Before he comes back. I'm not running. You don't have a choice. The front door slammed open. Derek stood in the doorway, smiling. Well, he said, isn't this cozy? Can you believe how quickly everything unraveled? What would you do if you were Lorraine right now? Vincent stepped back. Derek, I was just. Shut up, Vincent. Derek walked inside, closed the door behind him. He looked at me, then at Vincent, then back at me. You've been busy, Mom. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't you? He pulled out his phone, held it up. On the screen was a photo of me, sitting in the diner, across from Ernest. My heart stopped. You lied to me, Derek said quietly. You told me you went for a drive. But you went to meet him, didn't you? I didn't answer. Where is he? I don't know. Liar. He stepped closer. Tell me where he is, and I'll make this easy. For both of you. Derek, please, Vincent started. I said shut up. Vincent flinched. Derek turned back to me. Last chance, Mom. Where's Dad? I lifted my chin, met his eyes. I'm not telling you anything. For a moment, he just stared at me. Then he laughed. You know what? Fine. I'll find him myself. And when I do, he leaned in close. You'll wish you'd cooperated. He turned, walked to the door. Derek, I called. He stopped. The police know everything. He turned slowly. What? I gave them the evidence. The emails. The bank records. All of it. They're coming for you. His face went white, then red, then something else. Something cold and empty. You shouldn't have done that, Mom. And he walked out. The door slammed shut. Vincent collapsed onto the couch. Oh God. Oh God, what did you do? What I had to. He's going to kill us. Both of us. No, he's not. I pulled out my phone. Dialed Detective Morris. Because we're not going to let him. The phone rang. Once. Twice. Then Morris answered. Mrs. Hayes. He knows. Derek knows everything. You need to arrest him now. We're already on our way. Stay inside. Lock the doors. Don't let anyone in. How long? 10 minutes. I hung up. Vincent looked at me. What now? Now we wait. But we didn't wait long. Because 3 minutes later, the lights went out. And I heard glass shatter in the back of the house. Derek was coming. What happens when the hunter becomes the hunted? Drop a comment if you think Lorraine can survive this. And don't forget to subscribe, because what is coming next is going to blow your mind. The darkness swallowed everything. I grabbed Vincent's arm. Upstairs. Now. We moved fast. Felt our way through the living room, bumping into furniture, hands stretched out in front of us. Behind us, I heard footsteps. Heavy. Deliberate. Derek wasn't hiding anymore. We reached the stairs. Started climbing. The old wood creaked under our weight, each sound like a gunshot in the silence. Mom, where are we going? Vincent whispered. The bedroom. There's a lock. We reached the top. Stumbled down the hall. I pushed Vincent inside, slammed the door, twisted the lock. It wouldn't hold long, but it might buy us enough time. Vincent was breathing hard, panicking. He's going to kill us. Oh God, he's going to. Vincent, listen to me. I grabbed his face, forced him to look at me. The police are coming. We just need to survive until they get here. How? Good question. I looked around the room, searching for anything we could use. A lamp. Too light. A chair. Maybe. The window. I ran to it. Tried to open it. Stuck. Painted shut years ago and never fixed. Footsteps on the stairs. Slow. Steady. Derek wasn't rushing. He knew we had nowhere to go. Mom. Vincent's voice was shaking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. I know, baby. I should have stopped him. From the beginning. I should have. You're stopping him now. That's what matters. The footsteps stopped. Right outside the door. Silence. Then Derek's voice, calm and cold. Mom. Vincent. Open the door. We didn't move. I know you're scared. I get it. But this doesn't have to be difficult. Just open the door and we'll talk. Go away, Derek, I said. I can't do that. The police are coming. I know. That's why we need to talk. Before they get here. There's nothing to talk about. A pause. Then he laughed. Low. Bitter. You really think they're going to arrest me? Based on what? Some files you gave them? Files I can easily explain away. You can't explain attempted murder. Can't I? Dad had a heart condition. Everyone knew that. He was taking medication. He got confused. Started making wild accusations. It's sad, really. But not criminal. He's alive, Derek. Another pause. Longer this time. What did you say? Your father is alive. And when the police get here, he's going to tell them everything. Silence. Then the doorknob rattled. Open this door. No. Open it. He slammed against it. Once. Twice. The wood splintered. Vincent backed into the corner, eyes wide with terror. I grabbed the chair. Held it like a weapon. One more hit. The lock broke. The door flew open. Derek stood there, breathing hard, eyes wild. He looked at me. At Vincent. At the chair in my hands. Really, Mom? You think that's going to stop me? I think you need to leave. Now. Or what? Or I'll use it. He stepped inside. I swung. He caught the chair mid-swing. Ripped it from my hands. Threw it across the room. Sit down. Derek. I said sit down. I sat on the edge of the bed. Vincent was still in the corner, frozen. Derek closed what was left of the door. Stood in front of it. Here's what's going to happen, he said. You're going to call that detective. Tell him you made a mistake. That you were confused. Grieving. That the files were wrong. I won't do that. Yes, you will. Because if you don't, I'm going to make sure Vincent takes the fall for everything. Vincent's head snapped up. What? You heard me, little brother. I've been documenting everything. Every transaction. Every email. All of it points back to you. Not me. You. That's a lie. Is it? Who do you think the police will believe? Me, the responsible older son who tried to hold the family together? Or you, the quiet one with the gambling problem? I don't have a gambling problem. You will by the time I'm done. Derek smiled. It's amazing what you can fabricate with the right tools. Bank statements. Betting slips. Testimonies from people who'll say whatever I pay them to say. Vincent's face crumbled. You can't do this. I already have. I stood. Derek, this has gone far enough. Has it? He turned to me. Because from where I'm standing, it's just getting started. You want to protect Vincent? Then you do what I say. Call the detective. Fix this. And if I don't? Then Vincent goes to prison. And you, well, let's just say accidents happen. Especially to grieving widows who aren't thinking clearly. The threat hung in the air between us. This was my son. My boy. The child I'd raised. Loved. Sacrificed for. And he was threatening to kill me. I'm calling your bluff, I said quietly. His smile faded. Excuse me. I don't think you'll hurt me. I don't think you'll hurt Vincent. Because if you do, it's over. You'll never talk your way out of it. You want to test that theory? Yes. He stared at me. Jaw tight. Fists clenched. Then he pulled something from his jacket pocket. A gun. Vincent gasped. My heart stopped. Still think I'm bluffing? Derek asked. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Derek, put that away. Make the call, Mom. Put it away. Make the call. I looked at the gun. At his finger on the trigger. At the cold, empty look in his eyes. This wasn't my son anymore. I didn't know what he was. But I knew one thing. I wasn't backing down. No. His hand tightened on the gun. Mom. You want to shoot me, Derek? Then do it. But you're not getting away with this. Not anymore. He raised the gun. Pointed it at my chest. Vincent screamed. Derek, don't. Shut up, Vincent. Please don't do this. I said shut up. Derek's hand was shaking. He was scared. Good. You're not a killer, Derek, I said softly. You're a thief. A liar. But you're not a killer. You don't know what I am. I know you're my son. I know there's still something good in you. Somewhere. You're wrong. Am I? His jaw trembled. The gun wavered. You ruined everything, he said. I had it all planned. The business. The money. The house. It was all supposed to be mine. But you couldn't just let it go, could you? It wasn't yours to take. Dad didn't deserve it. He wasted his whole life fixing bicycles for pennies. I was trying to build something. Something real. Something that mattered. By stealing? By trying to kill your own father. He was in the way. He loved you, Derek. He loved his principles more. Sirens. Faint, but getting louder. The police were close. Derek heard them too. His eyes darted to the window. Back to me. This is your fault, he said. All of it. Derek, put the gun down. You should have just stayed out of it. Put it down. The sirens were right outside now. Red and blue lights flashed through the window. Car doors slamming. Voices shouting. Derek looked at the gun in his hand. Then at me. I'm sorry, Mom. And he ran. He bolted out of the room, down the stairs, toward the back door. Vincent and I rushed to the window. Below, police officers were surrounding the house. Flashlights cutting through the darkness. Derek Hayes. A voice boomed through a megaphone. Come out with your hands up. For a moment, nothing. Then Derek appeared in the backyard. Running. Gun still in his hand. Drop the weapon. He didn't. Drop it now. Derek stopped. Turned. Raised the gun toward the officers. No, I screamed. But they didn't shoot. They tackled him. 4 officers at once. Slammed him to the ground. Pinned him. Ripped the gun from his hand. And, just like that, it was over. I sank to the floor. Vincent collapsed beside me. We didn't speak. We just sat there, listening to the sounds of Derek being arrested below. Shouting. Handcuffs clicking. Rights being read. And then silence. Detective Morris found us 20 minutes later. We were still sitting on the bedroom floor. Numb. Exhausted. Mrs. Hayes. He crouched down. Are you hurt? I shook my head. He had a gun? I nodded. Did he fire it? No. Morris exhaled. You're lucky. I don't feel lucky. He helped me to my feet. Then Vincent. We've got Derek in custody, Morris said. He's not getting out this time. And my husband? We've contacted him. He's safe. He'll be brought in tomorrow to give his statement. Relief flooded through me. Ernest was safe. Derek was in custody. It was over. Wasn't it? The trial took 6 months. Derek pleaded not guilty. Claimed he was being framed. That Ernest had fabricated the evidence. That I was suffering from grief-induced delusions. But the evidence was overwhelming. Bank records. Emails. Audio recordings Ernest had secretly made. And Vincent's testimony. Vincent told them everything. The embezzlement. The poisoning. The attempt on Ernest's life. The threats. All of it. In the end, the jury took less than 3 hours to reach a verdict. Guilty on all counts. Derek was sentenced to 18 years in prison. He didn't look at me when they read the verdict. Didn't speak. Just stared straight ahead, jaw tight, eyes empty. Vincent got immunity in exchange for his cooperation. He moved across the country after the trial. Sent me letters sometimes. Apologizing. Trying to explain. I never wrote back. Not because I didn't forgive him, but because some wounds need time. And we both needed distance to heal. Ernest and I sold the house. Too many memories. Too much pain. We moved to a small cabin upstate. The kind of place we used to dream about when we were young and broke and happy. It's quiet here. Simple. Just the 2 of us, a garden, and the sound of wind through the trees. We don't talk about Derek much. Some days I still see him as a little boy. Laughing. Running through the yard. Asking me to fix his scraped knees. Other days, I remember the gun in his hand. The coldness in his eyes. And I wonder where I went wrong. Did I miss the signs? Was there a moment I could have stopped this? Or was he always broken and I just didn't want to see it? Ernest tells me it's not my fault. That some people choose darkness no matter how much light you give them. Maybe he's right. Or maybe that's just what we tell ourselves to sleep at night. One evening, about a year after the trial, I got a letter. From Derek. I almost threw it away. But curiosity won. Inside was a single page. Handwritten. Mom, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know something. I never wanted to hurt you. Or Dad. I wanted more. I wanted to matter. And somewhere along the way, I convinced myself that the ends justified the means. I was wrong. I know that now. I think about you every day. About the life I destroyed. The family I ruined. And I'm sorry. I know it's not enough. But it's all I have. Derek. I read it 3 times. Then I folded it. Put it in a drawer. I don't know if I'll ever write back. Maybe someday. But not today. Ernest was sitting on the porch when I came outside, watching the sunset. A cup of coffee in his hands. I sat beside him. Letter from Derek, he asked quietly. How do you know? You have that look. I leaned my head on his shoulder. Do you think people can change? He was quiet for a moment. I think people can want to change, he said. Whether they actually do, that's up to them. Do you think he'll change? I don't know. We sat there in silence, watching the sky turn gold and pink and purple. Do you regret it? Ernest asked. Turning him in? No. Even though he's your son? Because he's my son. I looked at him. If I'd let it go, if I'd protected him, what would that teach him? That he can hurt people without consequences? That family means covering up crimes. Some people would have done that. I'm not some people. He smiled. Kissed my forehead. No, you're not. The sun dipped below the horizon. Darkness settled over the trees. But inside the cabin, the lights were warm. And we were home. 3 months ago, I got another message. Not from Derek this time. From an unknown number. My heart stopped when I saw it. But it wasn't a threat. It was Vincent. Mom, I know I don't have the right to ask. But I wanted you to know. I'm doing better. I'm in therapy. I'm working. I'm trying to be the person you raised me to be. I don't expect you to forgive me. But I hope someday we can talk. I miss you, Vincent. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back. I miss you too. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was a start. And sometimes that's all you need. A start. Life isn't a story with a neat ending. There's no moment where everything wraps up perfectly and everyone gets what they deserve. Derek is in prison, but he's still my son. Vincent is trying to rebuild his life, but the damage is done. Ernest and I are together, but we're not the same people we were before. Betrayal changes you. It scars you in ways that never fully heal. But it also teaches you something. That strength isn't about never breaking. It's about what you do after you break. Whether you let the pieces stay scattered, or whether you pick them up, one by one, and build something new. I chose to build. It's not the life I imagined. It's smaller, quieter, filled with ghosts I'll never fully escape. But it's mine, and I fought for it. So if you're out there, facing your own betrayal, your own impossible choice, your own moment where you have to decide who you are and what you'll stand for, I want you to know something. You're stronger than you think. Braver than you believe. And you deserve a life that's built on truth, not lies. Even if the truth breaks your heart. Even if it costs you everything. Because in the end, the only person you have to live with is yourself. And you deserve to look in the mirror and like what you see. My name is Lorraine Hayes. I'm 58 years old. And this is the story of how I survived the worst betrayal of my life. Not by forgiving. Not by forgetting. But by refusing to let it destroy me. And if I can do it, so can you. What would you have done in my place? Would you have turned in your own son, or would you have protected him no matter what? Drop a comment and let me know your thoughts. And if this story moved you, if it made you think or feel something real, hit that subscribe button. Because there are more stories like this coming. Stories about real people facing impossible choices. And I want you to be there for every single one.